Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10th annual Reiki Raise Global Healing Summit. My name is Yolanda, and I am here today with Mari Okazaki. And I want to thank you, first of all, for taking time to have this conversation today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn from you today. Before we get into your conversation, I know we're going to talk about bridging cultures through Reiki, which is rooted in Japan and embraced worldwide. But I want to read your bio first so everyone knows a little bit about your background. So, Mari is originally from Japan and spent the last 25 years living in Chilliwack, BC, Canada. Today, she divides her time between the Goto Islands in Japan and Chilliwack. A Jikiden Reiki Dai Shihan, recognized by the Jikiden Reiki Institute, Mari has been both teaching and offering Reiki since 2006. She loves sharing Reiki not only as a gentle, effective home therapy, but also as a way to connect with the heart of Japanese culture. She regularly teaches Jikiden Reiki, Shoden, and Okuden certification classes and offers Shihankaku training upon request. For more than a decade, Mari organized and translated Jikiden Reiki seminars in Vancouver and also traveled with Tadao Yamaguchi, head of the Jikiden Reiki Institute, to Halifax, Seattle, and San Francisco as his interpreter. During the pandemic, she deeply felt the importance of preserving Reiki in its home country of Japan. This calling brought her back to the Goto Islands, where she has created a new base while continuing to support students and Reiki communities worldwide. Wow. So, again, thank you so much for being here. And I think this is a very interesting topic, and a lot of us can learn so much through this. But before we deep dive into the bridging the cultures through Reiki, could you tell us a little bit about how you were first introduced to Reiki and how it shaped your path?
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me and thank you for letting me talk. So, how I got into Reiki is um, probably at the beginning is when I was 4 and when my father died at the age of 39 with
Oh,
a medical accident. And it was a simple medical mistake that took his life. So that was my beginning of the life. So we had the natural remedy in our house all the time. My mother was a cooking teacher. Yeah, so she would cook good food and she would teach us to laugh a lot and do what you can do at home. So that's my background. So fast forward when I started to have a family, I have 3 boys, grown boys now, but
oh,
when
wow.
the second one was born, he had medical, like a health condition, which turned into a severe case of eczema. His body was covered with skin disease, the
Yes.
open skin, and then the body fluid leaks out and all that. So I took him to the doctor, and then the doctor referred to the pediatrician. Pediatrician referred to skin specialist. All of them said, "This is a severe case of eczema, and here's an antihistamine and a steroid-based cream." So, because of my background with my father's experience and all that, I thought the medication wasn't the answer.
Mm,
So I said the thank you to the doctors and I started to look for the natural remedy. Started with the strict food diet
yeah.
and homeopath and Chinese herbs and all kinds of natural remedy. And through that process, my friend in Canada, Canadian friends, she said, Mary, you're from Japan and Reiki is from Japan. Why don't you learn Reiki and then help your baby yourself? You can be a practitioner. So that was the beginning. Yeah.
Wow. Had you heard of Reiki before she mentioned it?
And I've heard of it vaguely, but I
Yeah.
didn't know. I thought that was because of the word. I thought it's a strange like cult religion or like
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
So actually, I would like to ask you about that because a lot of people don't know that Reiki isn't as commonly known in Japan as it is in the West. So could you talk a little bit of why you even had that thought based on the name of it and why it's not as
Yeah.
well known?
It's a first of all, it's the kanji, the Reiki, and
Hmm.
the Rei could be used in like to explain about the ghost. Rei could mean ghost, like
Mm.
dark ghost,
Yeah.
or Rei could mean psychic or channeling. So yeah, that word Rei is but commonly known as a ghost. So go it looks like a ghost energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of negative impression. And what is that? And also, old days, there's some religious group that use the hands like a hands-off offering,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
they stand by the station and they would catch the people and I'm gonna make you happy, and they'll go like this, and they that's a way to recruit the people to their organization.
Yes.
So it has a negative impression. Another
Yeah.
thing was the incident that happened early 1990s that's called Om religion, and it caused a lot of grief because they basically killed many people
Oh, wow.
in a subway. And yeah, so it's just yeah, negative impression from the word Ray.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I just want to ask you this to clarify, because I'm sure a lot of us who English speaking would think, why would they use a word that stands for ghost? So could you explain a little bit? Did that word used to mean
Mm-hmm.
something different, and now just in modern times it's understood differently?
So the kanji could have a lot of meanings. So it
Hmm.
depends on the combination. It creates a different meaning. So the word Reiki has been in Japan for a long time, out of like not connected to the ghost energy.
Hmm.
But the word Rei, the kanji Rei could mean the soul,
Um,
yeah, soul or spirit. And if we break it down, it means that our body, like human's body, has the ability to receive the blessing from the universe and embraced in our body and then channel through to others. So the spirit has a good meaning, but
yeah.
because of the combination, it can change the meaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. And that's even, I guess foundational to part of what you're going to share with us, because you right now you teach and have taught Reiki in Japan and in Canada. So, you've taught with Japanese speaking and English speaking students, and then also just different cultures. Have there, have you noticed any differences in
Yes.
how the students understand?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So by now I've taught the three different type of people because I
Hmm.
lived in Canada for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I started to teach Reiki in English for the Canadian and English speaking people. And second type of people is the Japanese people who live in Canada or who live in abroad. And then third type of people is Japanese people who live in Japan. So these three type of people, they take Reiki in a different way from my impression.
Yes.
So yeah, so English speaking people like Canadian, United States who live in those area, when they learn Reiki, they take the healing aspect. Oh, this is such a beautiful healing aspect. And oh, Japanese culture. Oh, that's fascinating. And
Yeah.
so they took the whole Reiki as a beautiful healing method. And
Hmm.
yeah, so they get excited and they go home. Now, the second part type of people is the Japanese people who live in abroad. When they learn Reiki, especially how I teach Jikiden Reiki, I integrate with them, showing the beauty of Japanese culture.
Yes.
When Japanese people who live in abroad be in touch with Jikiden Reiki and touch with the old Japanese culture, they're like, "Oh, I forgot
Mhm.
about it. Yeah, I totally see that beauty." And yeah, because when I think it's in any ethnic background. Uh,
Mhm.
Italian people live in different country or French people live in different country. Suddenly they start to see their own culture's beauty. So that same thing happened to Japanese people to us, right?
Yeah.
So when they learn Reiki and Jikiden Reiki, they're like, oh, it's like being home without being home. And they feel
Yeah.
warm inside and they feel like, okay, that's great, right? So yeah, of course, the healing aspect, but the cultural aspect too. Now, when Japanese people who live in Japan, when they be in touch with the Jikiden Reiki, especially when I emphasize that Japanese people, like you have to remember this culture, you have that culture,
Yeah.
they're like, wait, how did I not know about this for a long time?
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we got a work to do. Like
Yeah.
it feels like they wake up or yeah, they like, okay, they realize, okay, we've forgotten about such an important thing. We have to do our work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they grasp on it. That's the difference I see.
It's interesting because it makes me think of how we can all take in information, but
Hmm.
it's different when you practice and the different kind of understanding that comes when you connect with whatever it may be in a deeper way.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and I think sometimes culturally, when we're just surrounded by certain things, we may take it for granted because it's just
Hmm.
so like normal for us. Yeah. And then, yeah, that's really, really interesting. So,
Hmm.
in teaching in this way, I would imagine, especially from the different lenses, has it caused you to have to learn how to explain Reiki in different ways? And has it even deepened your understanding of it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Through doing translation for Mr. Yamaguchi,
Uh-huh.
he speaks one word and I say like two sentence. Yeah. Because it's challenging to explain different the cultural background. Like as I mentioned, for example, when native people, native culture, when they want to explain their culture, they have to use listener's language to be able to pass that meaning, right? So I do
Right.
the same thing when I explain Japanese culture for the people who are not really familiar with the Japanese culture. I try to seek the language or vocabulary that they understand. Yeah, so
Yeah.
through that, I learn how to explain the certain things, like Japanese concept or Reiki with English language that made me learn how to explain Reiki to Japanese people more easier. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
really interesting.
yeah, when Japanese people, even though I'm teaching in Japanese, when Japanese people learn my class, they're like, oh, your class was so easy to understand. Even the Jikiden Reiki Shihan and Shihankakus, when
Yes.
already teaching, but when they took my class, they said, "Oh, your class was really easy to understand," and I learned how to explain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. You're reminding me of how when I first studied Reiki, obviously what's more available here are very Western style. And then fortunately, something in me was still curious. I felt like there was something I still didn't understand about it. So I started seeking traditional teachings and teachers, and I came across Jikiden and studied with Arjava. And one of the things I remember, it was like a light bulb went off with some of just the simple details. For example, like learning about the second symbol, but the relationship to the seed syllable hui, and even hearing the story of Senju Kanan. Like these little things made such a big difference in understanding that it wasn't just this external practice, but how it applied to who I was being, like the kind of person I was being. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
those teachings that go deeper into even giving reflections of the culture, I can say, uh, made a huge difference
Mm-hmm.
in my understanding and also what my practice then meant to me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. That's interesting because you mentioned about Seiheki, the psychological
yeah.
treatment. When I started to teach in Japan, there's people who already learn Reiki with a different style, and
Hmm.
then they learn the Okuden class, the second part, And then I heard from them that because seiheki came from the word that I mean bad habit, but
Mm,
then that was when that passed down to like spread to the different culture, it was written in English, right? Like alphabets.
yes.
And that came back to Japan with English, like a different concept, a
Hmm.
foreign concept, and came back and written in katakana, which is a phonetic alphabet,
Yeah.
represent the foreign language. And then that turned into different kanji, means holy wall.
Oh,
The psychological treatment is to go over the holy wall to get through the psychological problem.
interesting.
Yeah, completely different kanji. So I thought that's fascinating. Okay, that makes
Yes.
sense. But originally, this is the original kanji. So
Yes. It's interesting how a lot, I guess, gets lost in translation, not just, culturally, but even with the words, because that reminds me too of the original kanji being explained versus how it was like, the kanji, then the katakana, and then like what, and then a different kanji symbol being used. But the original symbol had so much again that pointed to what the
yeah,
practice was really about. So,
right,
yeah.
right.
So, could you explain about Aimoto educational system and how they practice? What is that?
Yeah, so Iemoto system is a applies to the old traditional Japanese traditional art. So tea ceremony, flower arrangement,
Mm,
all kinds of like stage arts and all kinds of traditional art. They
yeah.
take Iemoto system. It's an educational system. So basically, there's one Iemoto, which is the house, like a house of origin, like a big teacher.
Mhm.
And then big teacher teaches the teacher trainer. And in a teacher trainer, there's many different levels. And then teachers teaches practitioner, and practitioner practice whatever they learn, right?
Yes.
There's always one Iemoto, the house of origin. Yeah, so that's the educational system. So the difference between Jikiden Reiki, like traditional Reiki and Western Reiki, there's a big thing is the Reiki master system.
Yes.
I heard that the in a different Reiki system, they have a Reiki master system. Once they become a master, they can teach the masters, right?
Right.
That means that that master can teach the masters.
Yes.
Was very helpful in the Reiki world to spread the Reiki through different continents and different cultures. But when it comes to Iemoto system, when they become a teacher, they can't really teach the teachers yet.
Yes.
Once they become a teacher, they teach a practitioner and they go through the experience. And then when they are ready, they can teach the teachers. Yeah, and then there's one Iemoto. So it looks like Jikiden Reiki apply have that a similar system. So
Mhm.
Mr. Yamaguchi is the only top, like a house of origin, and
Yes.
Mr. Yamaguchi can't teach the same level with him, but it's not because he wants to like hog his
Yes.
like I'm the only one. It's not like that. It's just simply Iemoto system is applied to Jikiden Reiki system. That's why he's the only one top. And
Yes.
he teaches the teacher trainers, then teachers teaches the practitioners.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting, Mari, that you say this because I'm thinking about the flower arrangements, the tea ceremony, and how, these practices are done with such intention and patience and focus.
Mhm.
And that, in contrast to, say, in the West, we're very impatient and want everything very quickly. And so when
Mhm.
you look at the different systems where we have basically three levels, right? Level one, level two, and then master level. But in Jikiden, that was one of the biggest differences, that I recognized of, whoa. So when my teacher came, I would do Shoden Okuden, level one, level two. And then the following year, Shoden Okuden again. It wasn't just this fast paced, you know,
Right.
but I really appreciated it because it gives you again this kind of even like unspoken, take your
Mhm.
time. Take your
Right.
time with the practice. And take it's not a rush, but,
Right.
you know,
Mm.
keep applying and let yourself grow. So that's a good, thank you for sharing that because I'm sure a lot of people are unaware.
In the Yamato system, there's many different lineage. In the tea ceremony, there's different lineage,
Hmm.
and traditionally, different lineage don't practice together. So there's a group A and group B. For example, in the tea
Yeah.
ceremony, they practice amongst the group A. Group B practice among group B. They don't mix together, and
Yes.
it's not like separating, but it's just to honor the teaching that they pass down. So
Yes.
if they start to practice together, it gives a chance to compare, and
Mm-hmm.
comparison turns into competition that
Mm-hmm.
this is better, ours is better, yours wrong.
Yeah.
And not to avoid, it's just to honor the teaching itself,
Yeah.
we practice separately. That's why Jikiden Reiki practice sort of separately. It looks like isolated, but it's just to honor the Reiki out there. Okay, great. Thank you for being so creative, right? And
Yes.
that's the reason that Reiki spread it and then it's reached to the so many people.
Right.
Jikiden Reiki being inflexible, not so many people might, not very every people might attracted to it, but we
Yes.
have the place to preserve the old teaching. It's nothing to do with which is better or
Right.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
the system. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. It's very interesting. And again, I think it even highlights, um, I don't know, intentionally or unintentionally, again, like just tradition,
Mhm.
and
Right.
I could say as being someone who lives in the West, it definitely gave me a different kind of even respect, I would say, for the practice and wanting
Mhm.
to understand more of the origin. So,
Yeah.
speaking of that, could you tell us a little bit about how Reiki connects with Japanese culture and traditions, such as like with Shinto and relationship to nature?
Yeah. So the foundation of Reiki is an Shinto teaching. Shinto teaching is it's not a religion, but the way of life in Japan. So it's like a foundation of Japanese culture.
Hmm.
It's a nature-based teaching. Yeah, so there's many teachings that pass down, but one it's related to Reiki is the nature-based healing.
Hmm.
So old days, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, when of course doctors are not available and they haven't discovered the herbs or plants that works for certain illness. The only medicine for those people, ancient Japanese people, were big nature. So, for example, when the village is close to the forest, when the village person gets sick, they just simply go out to the forest and find the biggest tree in the forest and sit by the tree or lay down by the root and then receive the energy from the tree into
Wow.
their body and then heal from inside. So that's how they maintain their health. Same thing applies to the beach on a huge rock on the beach. When the village is close to the ocean, they use the big rock. When
Yeah.
the village is close to the river or waterfall, they use those big nature, receive the pure nature to our body, and then maintain their health. So that's the foundation, right? And Reiki is a similar, like same thing. Instead of the sick people go out to the nature and look for the pure nature energy through a tree, Reiki practitioner go to the sick people and provide the same thing. So they become a big tree or huge rock inside of their house and provide the pure nature energy. So then the receiver can heal from inside, right? Yeah, so that's the really put really long story short, put simply, that's the foundation of Reiki. So we don't call ourselves as a healer uh,
Mhm.
because receiver themselves is a healer for themselves.
Yes.
So that's a different um, way of seeing. Often I hear the word Reiki healer, but
Yes.
yeah, I just don't call myself as a healer. Yeah. And
That's actually one of the most beautiful ways I've heard it described.
Ah, that's nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is really, really beautiful. And you know, Mari, it makes me think of that whole concept of interconnectedness
Hmm.
because, you know, there would have to be some kind of understanding that life
Hmm.
force is in the tree or in the rock or in the all
Yeah.
these different places to
Hmm.
even have this knowing that that kind of healing space could be held. But you know,
Hmm.
it also makes me think of like the tree is not trying or thinking about it's just being.
Right.
Yes. And
That's
how
right.
we have these practices in Reiki that point to the same thing of,
Yeah.
you know, how do you just like focus on the
Hmm.
presence
Yeah.
of what you call it pure nature.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
as present.
Yeah. So once you understand the foundation of Reiki with the nature-based teaching, then there
Yes.
are many questions we can address because trees, when even though sick people or very negative people sit by a tree, trees are not thinking that, oh, okay, I might receive a negative energy from this person, or oh, she's got a psychic attack. She might leave something bad in me.
Yeah.
Trees are not thinking at all, right?
Yes.
So, and yeah, so that's, yeah, that can answer the question that many people ask that, do I have to cleanse the room or do I have to make an energetic barrier before
Yeah.
I start Reiki? And I say, no, you don't have to because
Yeah.
once you're in a flow, nature flow, that's a protection, that's a
Yeah.
grounding. So you don't have to do anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
it's interesting to think of what better, like if you wanted to use the word protection, what would be more nurturing for
Mm,
any of us than, you know, just that pure essence of nature. But
yeah,
also, again, it's just everything you're saying is bringing me back to what we focus on and what we bring our attention to, our direction of mind. Because if I am afraid of, you know, I don't know, someone's energy, then I'm going to expand more of that as I'm
that's right.
trying to hold the space.
Totally, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's so good.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm curious about, this is incredible, by the way. I mean, again, because I think it gives us a lot to think about and consider, and just even have some more curiosities about the
Mhm.
origins and what it was all pointing to. But for people who are curious just about your daily practice and what that looks like, do you have any simple practices that you recommend to students, even to your own students?
Yes, I always, the first day of the class at the end, I said, I have a homework. Homework is lifetime. And I said, when you go to bed, place your hands on on your body. And
Mhm.
that's from now every night. And that's a self Reiki, right? And such a simple thing like place your hands on the body and wherever and go to bed. And that's the practice that I always recommend to my student, and then always remind them because people forget. I said,
Yes.
please don't forget. Yeah, so that's yeah, and that's how the reason is that by doing self Reiki, because some people don't live with the other people,
Hmm.
and the best way to practice Reiki is to find other people to place their hands so then they get better and you get better.
Yeah.
Or many people live alone and or away from the family, and then self Reiki is very, very effective. And by continuing it, the energy pipe is maintained to be clean. So when they get sick, Reiki works better. So when people do distant Reiki for them when they get sick, it works better. Yeah, so that and it can get into the prevention of the illness too.
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Ah,
So
that's
yeah.
very good to know. And again, just listening to you, Mari, it's making my mind expand into like what Reiki is. And what is it? You know, because again, I think sometimes, uh, I don't know. I think sometimes there's this disassociation with it. But
Hmm.
again, with what, like something outside of us, But so
Yeah.
much of what you're saying is like pointing to that awareness that it's
Uh-huh.
present in
Right.
all things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if people ask me what is Reiki,
Hmm.
this is how I explain. So as soon as I touch your body, I become a pipe between the pure nature energy and your body. And
Hmm.
your body, so pure energy is starting to flow through my hands, and your body will start to fill with the energetic nutrition. I say
Mm.
energetic nutrition. And then your body is the one that recognize that, okay, good things came in. I have to use for my liver. I have to use for the leg because I went to hiking. Your body is the one that used that energy to heal from inside. So that's what I say.
Yes.
So we have to have the both flow, the blood flow and energy flow. Blood flow is approved with the science, so people believe it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to energy flow, there's no scientific background, so people can't see it, as many people don't believe. But
Right.
we have the word called kiketsuryu. Ki is energy, ketsu is a blood, and ryu is a flow. Kiketsuryu. This is the old Japanese word. And I said, we had the word kiketsuryu. Do you know that? And both has to be flowing, and both flow is the one that live and make us alive. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I explain
That's
both.
a beautiful way. I love energetic nutrition. I've never
Yeah, that's
heard
right.
that
Yeah.
before. Yeah. And,
Mhm.
in this, because you do have a very, I would say, unique experience in teaching Reiki, in that it is worldwide, it is global.
Mhm. Mhm.
And to live in Japan and again have the opportunity to speak or teach to people who are in Japan and abroad and different cultures and different languages and all of these things, you have a very unique, I think, perspective in the
Mhm.
teaching of Reiki. So just curious, have you ever had an experience, in your teaching that really did touch you? Did you ever have an experience, maybe even with a student that,
Mhm.
yeah, that you remember?
Yeah, I remember. This is a recent one. I have a 19 years experience, but this is a very recent one. There's a person who came with a rare disease,
Mm,
and it's a disease that
mm,
disease
yeah.
that the end of the nerve has a blockage. So then the message from the brain can't go to the muscle, so
Mm,
it can affect the eyesight or swallowing, or some people can affect for the muscle. And he came with his wife, and he explained the disease, and he said, Over the many years, I have a double vision, so it's hard to drive, and I used to play tennis, but tennis ball becomes like a two ball, so you can't play." And when the it was getting worse and worse and worse, and sometimes the food stuck in his throat. So it's really discouraging, because when you were able to see things and now you can't, it's really discouraging to do things. And he was sort of like staying home and not doing much and really depressed. He heard about Jikiden Reiki and my class, and he took with his wife. The third day, he said, "My vision is improving." It's just that during the class.
yes,
That means that they're starting to do Reiki each other through the class already.
yes.
And then a month later, the wife texted me that he's now playing tennis. He's chopping woods. He would never come home. His life is completely changed since took Reiki. And then she was so thankful. And yeah, I was just talking to them yesterday, and then that's why it's stuck in my mind. I was thinking what to talk, but it was
Yes.
fresh that, yeah, so even the rare disease, Reiki could help. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
It,
struck me is to learn together, husband and wife learn together. Yeah.
yes.
Recently, I see that quite often. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's interesting. It reminds me of what even brought you into Reiki with your friend suggesting to support what was going on with your son. And I want to ask you this too, before we go, because again, sometimes we see it as it's incredible the way that Reiki can help us on a physical level and, see ailments and things correct themselves and, the body comes back into a state of harmony. But through your practice, and if you look back over these many years that you have been practicing, have you noticed how it has also just changed your nature? Like maybe like the way you see things or how you behave?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through Reiki, uh, well, the teaching of Gokai, don't,
Hmm.
今日だけは怒るな心配する that teaching of Gokai is the base of the life. So when I start to worry, I just call in Gokai and don't worry.
Yeah.
Leave it up to the universe. So I became more easygoing. I used to be more precise, but I became more easygoing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also well, I have so many death in my life, like a
Mm.
loved one's death, but I see the death as the beauty of as beautiful as the childbirth.
Hmm.
Childbirth is the birth of the body, but then the death is the birth of the soul.
Oh,
And yeah, I used to volunteer at the hospice and lay my hands on the people whose life is really short. And through that, I thought this is such a beautiful practice, like
hmm.
beautiful time in the life. And
Yeah.
through doing Reiki at the hospice and people who were dying, I think that was the real Reiki practice because that mind, when you laying your hands on the palliative care patient, they're not looking for cure anymore. They're looking
Right.
for peace, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just being there as a being and not expecting the cure or not expecting the pain to relieve. I just being the being with them. And if you can bring that mindset to the regular Reiki practice for the people who wants to get better or who just had an injury or who just had an operation or just to maintain the good health,
Hmm.
if the practitioner can be that mind, just being a being and not
Yeah.
expecting anything, then the pipe is like,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Very clear. Very clear. Yeah, very clear expression then. And it's so beautiful. And I hope people really hear that. That
Yeah.
is very beautiful, Mari. And I had a similar experience. I was um, in a Reiki training, and while I was in the training, I got a phone call. This is many years ago, like over 10, I don't know, 15 something years ago. Um, I got a call that my stepfather was in the hospital across the country. And so directly from the training, I went over there, but we thought, or I thought it was just, oh, I'm visiting him in the hospital. I didn't think it was anything, that he was dying. But when I got there, I found out immediately, then they put him into hospice at home.
Yeah.
And so I was there when he passed. And if someone had asked me prior to that experience, I would have thought, no way, I don't want to be around when somebody's transitioning. Like, oh no. Um, but it was interesting because was this fresh out of a Reiki class.
Mhm.
And when I went, when I was there as he was passing, it was such an honor to hold that space
Yes.
because part of it I knew it was exactly what you said. It was just about creating an environment of peace.
Hmm.
And even my mother, who, she's practiced Reiki, but her full focus was making sure he knew, like, we're here and to be comfortable, to be at peace.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's so interesting that you bring
Yeah.
this up. There wasn't an expectation of healing, just
Feeling. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
peace.
Just yeah, one more story about the impactful student is the one of the lady who took my Reiki.
Hmm.
And then at the beginning, we were the teacher-student relationship, but quickly we became friends.
Yes.
But her name is Sanae, and she later diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Hmm.
And then she went through the chemotherapy, but chemotherapy almost killed her because of
Wow.
side effects. So she went completely natural, rep natural, and then of course Reiki was one of it. Reiki helped her so much to get through. So after she went into remission of that cancers, she took a Shihankaku course, which is the teacher course,
Yes.
and then she started to teach. And because she thought, okay, this needs to be in many, many hands. And yeah, so she was in remission for like 8 years, but sadly she passed away in 2023. But
Wow.
until like 6 months before she passed away, she was teaching. Yeah, and then
Wow.
at the end she was so peaceful that yeah, and yeah, so that's one another thing. So Reiki could be, even though people passed away,
Hmm.
they can go peacefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because you sharing this, it just gave me chills. You sharing this, it reminds me of how even this, in this awareness that you're bringing, I love the idea too of the birth of the soul. But
Hmm.
bringing this into our awareness, it points back to again, like, what is the most important state of our being?
Hmm.
If in the end it really comes down to peace, then
Yeah.
it seems like then that should be, you know, the natural way
Hmm.
throughout leading up and through. So yeah, this is a
Totally
beautiful
agree.
teaching.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mari, that's so good. So before we go, and again, I just want to thank you even now for all that you're sharing with us today. If you could leave us with one message about Reiki from your heart, what would
Mhm.
it be?
So, it, so there are three type of people, pa how they pass away. One
Uh-huh.
is people who don't want to die but die.
Mm,
Another one is people wants to die but die. And then another one is people who were so grateful for the life they've had.
yes.
I've had those three experience. One is my father who passed away with a medical accident, and he
Mm,
left the three little children and a wife. So I'm sure he didn't want to die, but he had to die.
right.
Now my mother, she actually died with a suicide. So
Mm,
she was a person who died because she wanted to die,
wanted to.
right? And then a person like Sanae, my friend, she at the end she was so grateful for the life she had. Yeah, so um yeah, so I believe that the Reiki can make the people at the end thinking that I'm so grateful to for the life I've lived and
Yes.
live peacefully. So my message to the listener is that the Reiki can do that, and I'd like to many people to have Reiki in their life, all the way from the birth to the death and transition. Yeah, to bring the peace.
Mari, just like this is so good.
Okay.
But in even that, with what you're saying, it's reminding me of like the smaller deaths that we have throughout life. Like, people lose a relationship or lose a job or lose all of these things that we would have such an attachment to. And
Hmm.
what you're speaking of is, that potential that we can really honor more of these transitions throughout the entirety of life without, yeah, having those deep, deep, deep attachments that will cause us so much suffering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah.
such a beautiful message. Now, speaking of you and your beautiful messages, you do write blogs and you
Mhm.
write in Japanese and English on
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram. So
Mhm.
we're going to put the links so everyone can follow your work, your website, and connect with you on social media. Could you share a little bit? What do you write the blogs about?
Um, of course, mainly about the Reiki
Yes,
and what's my thought about Reiki, but I write about myself too. The
yes,
reason is that when I came to Japan, when I trying to promote Reiki, people like, okay, whoa, 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 what is that? Right? Because of the kanji. So
yes,
I thought, okay, I have to change my way of promoting Reiki. So I started to promote myself and
uh,
then to think that when they trust me, then
yes,
maybe they can trust Reiki through me.
yes, yes.
So, So I write about myself and daily things, and then the experience moving from Japan to no Canada to Japan, or the raising kids, and then every time when I do Reiki event or pop up a Reiki idea, then I write my perspective, both in Japanese in English. And I don't leave in Japanese because the auto translation is really weird. So I translate myself and write it in a half bottom is in English, and
Mhm.
many people enjoy reading. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've loved many people, more people to if I can reach out to more people, that would be great.
Yes, well, I am looking forward to reading your blog. So I'm glad that you're sharing this with us. And like I said, for everyone, the your website, everything to connect with you, Mari, will be
Mhm.
down in the show description. And just to be clear, because people offer Reiki in various ways, you only teach in person, right?
In person, yes, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And in Japan and Canada.
In Canada, yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, we could
Yeah.
travel to see you. But
Yeah,
thank you so much for everything that you shared with us today.
that's great. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, and everyone else, we will see you soon.
Yes.